What's going on, guys? Welcome to a brand new video. So today I'm going to be showing you guys how to basically do a quick little OBS setup. I'm going to go through the basic settings that I use, and like I said, I'll kind of talk to you about like what you might want to tweak for yourself, and depending on the kind of computer you have, the kind of bandwidth you got, just the basic general, how to set it up. The setup I use is like what I use for YouTube. If you're using Twitch, you can, you have the option to set up like, sub alerts, donation alerts, all kinds of alerts and stuff. I'm not going to go over that in this video. I may make a second one for kind of the more advanced and I guess you say the add-on and plug-in kind of stuff you can do with OBS Studio. But anyway, so this video is just going to cover kind of the general basics and that kind of stuff. So let's go ahead and hop right into it. Alright, so the first step in our quest to set up OBS is, well, we obviously have to get it first. I'm using the Chrome web browser, which it shouldn't matter what browser you use, you're just downloading a file. This is a fresh install of Windows 10 on a virtual machine. It made it a lot easier to set up OBS so I could record OBS in OBS, if that makes sense. So, a little OBSception here. So the website you're going to want to go to is the OBS project, if I could spell. I think is it com? I think it's .com. Yes, .com. So originally the main thing you used to want to get was the OBS Classic, but now they've kind of stopped supporting that. So you're going to want to get OBS Studio. That's the current version. That's the ones they're going to be developing on for quite some time. And the best part for all you Mac lovers out there, it works on Mac, it works on Linux, and it works on Windows. So no matter which one you're on, you can use OBS Studio. So if you want to use like maybe a Mac or something to record stuff with, and you have like if you're using a console, you can probably do that. I think Elgato works on Mac and stuff now. I haven't actually done it before, but I'm pretty sure it does. But anyways, yeah, the main thing I use is PC, so that's what we're covering in this video. But the setup steps should be the same. So. If there's something different, let me know, and I'll make a separate video for that. But I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly, most of the settings stuff are the same, because I've actually used OBS on Mac before. But anyway, so let's go ahead and just download the Windows version, because that's what we're running right now. Alright, it's done. Go ahead and open that. Using Chrome, all you gotta do is click on it right here in the lower left corner. You're gonna want to click yes on this pop-up, because you do want OBS Studio to make changes to your computer. I mean, unless you just don't want to run OBS, that's up to you. So we're going to click Next. Oh, so you got to install this if you don't already have it, which I apparently don't. So let's go ahead and install it. Like I say, this is a fresh copy of Windows, so a lot of stuff has not been installed yet. So it may ask you to download the Visual C++ redistributable packages for Visual Studio 2013. Let's just go ahead and download them. So I'm going to run 64-bit. I'm probably going to need the 64-bit version. Alright, try number 2. Here. Survey says... Oh, nope, you need both of them. I'm sorry, I misread that. It says you do need to install both of them. I'm a moron, I did not read that correctly. So you're going to want to actually install both of these. Well, we already installed the 64-bit version, so now let's install the 32-bit version or the x86 version. Alright, so it's going to run that real quick. I agree. Install. Yes, please. Who knew installing software could be so much fun? Alright, let's try this one more time, guys. One more time. Boom. Yes. Next. I agree. Install. Here we go. Alright. Now you get to watch the nice little green bar go across the screen. One of the greatest things in life was when that little green bar gets to the very end and hits 100%. And it's like, yes. It's just so satisfying. Alright, so now we can actually open and run OBS Studio. So let's go ahead and do that. Alright, so the first time you're going to run it, it's going to ask you, accept the terms, the license agreement. So you're going to want to click yes, you own my soul. I agree. So now we got OBS installed. We're going to go ahead and hop in some of the features and all the awesomeness that OBS is and what it can do. So basically this is OBS when you start out with a fresh install with nothing on it. Pretty basic, nothing crazy. So we're going to go ahead and go to File, Settings. The first thing I always do, just because I like it this way, is change the theme to dark. I think it looks better and it's a little easier to see, especially at night. But that's my preference. You don't have to do that if you don't want to. Totally up to you. So let's go ahead and do the basic rundown of settings you want to run through here. So stream settings is right here, is where you configure where you want to stream to. This is where you input your stream key. And so if you want to stream to YouTube, Twitch, Hitbox, Dailymotion, livecoding.tv, Facebook Live, or Restream, which basically sends it to any or all of these at the same time. You're gonna, choose the service you want, choose what server you want. In YouTube's case, YouTube automatically, it hits their main digest or ingest server, and then they send it to whatever server that's best for, depending on what your location is. Twitch, you can actually choose what server you want to go to. So in my case, I live in the DFW region of Texas, so we want to go to Dallas, Texas. That's what's obviously close to me. And then you type in the stream key from, you get that from Twitch, YouTube, or whatever site you're streaming to. They'll provide you a stream key, which basically lets you stream on your channel. That's where you input your stream key right here. You get that, like say, once again, from YouTube, Twitch, or wherever, whoever you're streaming your content to. That's where you're going to get your stream key from. So you definitely want to make sure you look for that on their site. I know on YouTube, if you go to the live streaming sections in the little right lower corner, if I remember correctly by default. In Twitch, it's on your profile settings somewhere. There's an option to generate a stream key. So that's where you want to do that for Twitch. So moving on to the next part of our little tour here, we're going to go to output. So for this video, we're going to leave it on output mode simple. The simple settings is usually what most people want to leave it on, unless you kind of know what you're doing, you want to play with it a little more in depth. The next thing we're going to talk about is the video bitrate. So the bitrate is kind of like the quality of your video going, you're uploading. Typically for Twitch and YouTube, for me, I set it to 3500, which allows me to stream in HD at a pretty good resolution. I know I stream with this setting. I stream at, I'm able to stream at 1080p or 720p, depending on, like, say, what my connection is, where I am, etc. For encoder, depending on if you have an NVIDIA graphics card or not, you may have typically three choices. You'll have the software, which is what it is by default, which is basically where your CPU does all the heavy lifting. And since I'm on a virtual machine, I can't show you the other two options because I don't have them. You also will sometimes have QuickSync, which is a Intel technology. It's depending on your processor. You may have it, you may not. Or the NVENC encoder, which is what I use on mine. If you have the option to use the NVENC, which is the NVIDIA encoder, that's basically on your it basically offloads all the encoding processes off to your graphics card, which makes streaming so much easier because it just takes a massive strain off your CPU. And so if that's available, I typically always run that unless there's some specific reason why I can't. Even if I'm playing a game, I've never had any problems with like my FPS dropping or something because I'm using this to stream. But anyway, so typically I switch to that. But like I say, for this, the only one I have is the software, so we're just going to have to go with the software. And I'll put some screenshots up possibly of the NVIDIA, like what the choice looks like on here. And typically for most services, you don't want to go any higher than your audio bitrate of 160. That's typically what almost all the streaming services max out at. So you usually don't want to really go any higher than that because there's really no reason to. If you're recording, like just recording, you can do that. That'd be fine. Make you a little, have a little better sounding audio quality possibly. But like say for just streaming, 160 is plenty. Okay, so next little section here is recording. So if you're recording only, you don't really need to worry about the streaming settings up top. So typically if you're recording, you want to worry about just the, where your videos are saving. So right now I'm saving it to just videos, which for me is fine right now. Recording quality, I typically do myself either high quality or indistinguishable. This kind of is determined by how much space you have on your hard drive. If you have a, massive load of hard drive space, you could probably do indistinguishable quality, no problem. Lossless quality is if you want to look exactly like it looks on the screen. Indistinguishable compresses down a little bit. High quality compresses down a little more. Same as stream is going to be typically your closer to what your actual video bitrate is here, whereas high quality, it's a little higher, and single spool even higher. Basically, it's just, depending on how high quality video output you want. And like I say, typically the high quality or the indistinguishable is what I usually set mine to. Right now, I think I'm actually, for this video, I'm actually doing a high quality. So, and then recording format, I always do MP4 because that's what most things will read without any problems. Most computers typically will read MP4s. Macs can do MOVs, but Windows, unless you have iTunes and stuff installed, sometimes you can't. FLV is a Flash video file, which really, who uses Flash? Why? Just why? Most people use MP4, so typically MP4 is the way to go. That's what I always do. And it uploads easy to YouTube, which I think YouTube can read, any of these. Although, I'm not sure about the M3U8. I've actually never used that one before, so I know nothing about it. So, you can Google that one if you want. But MP4 is your all-around, usually the safest choice. So that pretty much covers the output section. Audio, sample rate, typically, you don't ever have to change this. Depending on the hardware you're using to record audio and stuff, you might have to change it to 48, but for most people out there, just leave it on 44.1 and you're good to go. And right here, if you want to actually set, if you have a microphone or something on here, which, like I say, I'm on a virtual machine, so I don't have actually any input devices right now, you can actually set those right here if you want to use a mic auxiliary section that's built in OBS, or you can just add the audio device in as a separate device later. I always do mine separately just because I just don't care, and which I'll show you kind of what I'm talking about here in just a second. And then video, so this is where you actually adjust your resolution for the actual stream and or recording. So like I say, for me, I can stream at 1080p, so I do that. Most people, depending on what your bandwidth is, if it's complete garbage, if you're running 3 megabits per second, you're going to want to stream 720p, because I can almost guarantee you 1080p is not going to work well for you. You can usually get away with running 720p at 60 frames per second. But if you're on a really low bandwidth connection trying to run 1080p 60 frames per second, you're going to have a little bit of trouble, I can almost promise you. Typically, to do that, you need at least to have about 5 or 6 megabits per second on your upload speed. Now, if you optimize it really well, you might be able to do it with 4 or 5, probably at the lowest. Because I used to have a 3 megabit connection myself, and it wasn't. I could do it, but it'd be very I'd lose some frames here and there, it'd be a little choppy. So typically, I would drop it down to 720. Resolution with 60 frames per second, and that usually was plenty. Downscale filter also, once again, depends on the hardware you're running and the bandwidth you got, because it takes more time obviously to sample 32 frames when it's downscaling versus 16 frames. So this kind of depends on your hardware and your CPU usage and what kind of gear you got. And typically for recording and streaming, I recommend nothing lower than a quad-core i5. So yeah, typically quad core is your friend when it comes to streaming and recording. That's for sure. Hotkeys is the next section here. You set some hotkeys. Start streaming, stop streaming, start recording, stop streaming, discard delay, studio mode. I'll show you that in a little bit. You don't have to set these. You don't want to. That's totally up to you. Advanced. For this video, don't touch. Typically, I don't even touch. I don't think I've ever actually had to touch anything in here except maybe the process priority. If you have something running on your computer that's for some reason taking power away from the OBS, but you want more power to go towards OBS, dedicate some power to it, then you might change this. But typically, I don't recommend that, because sometimes you change some priorities, you can make stuff unstable and things start breaking and they start blue screening, and you don't want that. Trust me, it's not fun. So in the stream delay, if you want to put a delay on your stream, you can. So once you got settings here, hit apply, hit OK, and then now let's actually start making some sources here. So say I want to capture this window or display. I want to capture the entire first screen of my computer here. So we'll say monitor 1. Say I want to record a YouTube tutorial, something like I am now. I'll hit OK. And then I will link into monitor display 0, which is the only one I have right now. And it will capture everything on my monitor, mouse and everything. So if I want to go in here and you know, open up a website, you know, show you how to do something else, blah blah. Let's go to Google search, whatever. You know, it'll capture everything in here, and it's gonna be a little laggy. Sorry, because like I say, I think it's my CPU on this virtual machine is getting a lot of yeah. I'm wrecking it right now with all this visual madness here. So that's how you set up a monitor display. If you want to do a game, like if you want to only capture a certain program or a certain game, you hit game capture, hit OK, and then you can do either to automatically capture any full screen application. Typically when I'm streaming, I don't make my games full screen. I like them in window because it's easier to switch like alt tab out of them, and I find it crashes less. But it usually depends on the game. I know for like Overwatch and stuff, I always just leave it windowed. And so basically what you can do is you can choose, you'll have a list of windows open. So basically you want to start your game up the first time. And so if you'll have like Overwatch.exe, you'll click on that and then hit OK, and then it'll start capturing just Overwatch.exe. It won't capture the whole display and stuff. So it does that does that, and it's pretty cool. And so then you also want to add your microphone if you have one. So you do audio input device. Okay, and then you'll choose your device, which I unfortunately do not have one on my virtual machine. But basically you'll have a little drop down. Any microphone that your Windows is picking up. So if your Windows, audio properties and stuff are picking it up, it's gonna pick up in OBS typically. So you click that, choose your audio, hit OK, and then you'll have a little microphone capture right here, which you can see the little bar right here, and so you can also adjust the volume level, the input level of your microphone here. And also when you have game captures, when you have games and stuff and different things, you can also adjust the audio for them right here with the same. It'll be the same kind of little thing here, and I'll show you a picture of actual my setup for this video. That way you can kind of see. And then like I say, so you can add more sources right here. If you're adding, you just want to add some text, you can do that. So we can do that here. Click OK. We'll just type, hello world, because I like to type that and I misspelled it because I can't type. Boom. Change the font. Calibra or Calibri. Sorry, totally butchered that. Writing system. Latin? Sure. Why not? Seems legit. Okay. You can also make this read from file. This is what people do when they want to, pull from like a donation list or something. Last person donated, last person subscribed list and whatnot that the alert programs make like little files, and basically this can read from those. So you can do that. You can change the color right here, basic stuff. Nothing too crazy. We'll make it purple because America. Oh, you can also do gradient too. So apparently I have it set to gradient, so I can have two colors. That's cool. Yeah, here you go. And you can you scroll down a little. I didn't realize there was a scroll down. Scroll down a little more. Two colors. You can do an outline, drop shadow. The works. There you go. Boom. Okay, put that right there. We're gonna turn off the monitor capture here because it's distorting me. You make your text, you just drag and drop. So basically, whenever you put a source in, these little red bars, just like you do, any kind of picture, you drag it around, make it look good, do how you want it, and boom, there you go, magic. So it's pretty self-explanatory. It's not really hard. A lot of people see when they open, they get a little scared. It's not really hard. Just worst case, if you play around with it, if it doesn't work, then go try some different settings. And if you need some help, shoot a little message in the comments. Say, hey, how do you do this? And if I don't know it, I'll try to find a link for you or something to show you how to do it. Once you kind of get playing with it, once you kind of understand the basics of it, you'll figure it out along the way. There's a lot of other tutorials and like different guides and stuff, especially for I know for Twitch and YouTube especially, there's a lot of guides that will kind of walk you through how to set up alerts, how to set up donation alerts, sub alerts, all that kind of stuff too on there. Typically the people who actually make those alerts will have all kinds of little guides and stuff out there. So don't be scared. You'll get the hang of it. It's not too bad. Another thing you can do is also make another scene, and once again, actually, I'll put a little screenshot or something on the video here of actually what mine looks like. So I have one, for example, of Xbox where I have my Elgato plugged into it, and then I have you have a whole other set of sources, and so you can actually switch between scenes. And if you're in studio mode, which is the little button here, you can actually like have one scene open and then select the scene, transition to it, and then select the scene you want to switch to in a minute, hit transition. And you can even like load full video files and stuff in here. So if you want to like basically run this like a production, you can actually do that. That's why OBS Studio is actually really cool. You can run your stream like a daggum production and make it look good. Like actually, I have my intro loaded into OBS, so if I want to like just flash my intro, I could do that. I just basically switch the scene that has a video file and open it, and then it just plays my intro. And then once it's done, before it's done, I cut back to the feed of my Xbox. So, you know, you can do a lot of pretty cool stuff with OBS when you play with it a little bit. So and you can make as many scenes as you want, blah, blah. Make scene 2, scene 4. And you can have separate sources for all of them. And so if you want to add a source, we'll say display capture. You can also re-add a source if you already have it on another scene to make it quicker to, you know, throw another one back in there. So we'll do monitor because we already have one set for monitor. And then once I'm ready, I just transition in and boom, there we go. I'm going to kick back to scene 1. Boom, we're back in scene 1. All right, we're going to transition it. Boom. You know, and that's actually even kind of some more advanced stuff. So typically, studio mode is turned off by default. You just click and change the scene. Yeah, you know. But we're gonna give you a little demonstration. And then once you got everything set up, ready to go to start recording, you just simply hit start recording. And just so you guys can see a fully functional, fully set up scene and sources and all that good stuff, this is my source I use. Like say Audio Technica. If I need to display some on Notepad real quick, I can. Display capture, which is capturing my actual display. As you can see, like say the constant OBSception going on in my screen preview here. And then I can also capture Chrome if I need to by itself. And then if I want to say, let's see, start up Overwatch real quick. And so if I want to switch over from my PC capture source over to say my PC game source, which I currently have Overwatch loaded on right now, I can do that by clicking PC game. It switches the scene over, and then it loads whatever game is playing, which right now, there it goes. It takes a second to initialize. So we got Overwatch on there. So there we go. We have the Overwatch game on there. If I want to switch back, I switch right back. Simple as that. Like I said, this is kind of what a fully set up one looks like. So it's not too crazy. But anyway, so like I said, you just gotta kind of play with it and customize it, to see how it fits your needs. You have to customize it a little bit based on, the performance of your machine, what you have on your computer, your bandwidth, all that good stuff. That's really, like I say, that's how I learned how to do this myself. I just, play with it. I broke a few things. Like I say, my stream wouldn't work a few times. And I, went back, tweaked a few more settings, and like I say, I did it, to the best of my ability. You just gotta play with it a little bit. And one thing I will point out too, actually, since I have this page up, is if you see my CPU utilization right here, and you see I'm not, it's not giving me any kind of errors down here in the lower left, like it was when you're running on the VM. And so actually, this is because I'm running on the hardware encoder, so it's not using that much, my CPU power. It's my graphics card's mostly taking over, doing all the number crunching and stuff in the background. And so, like I say, if you have a NVIDIA GPU and you can use an NVENC, I always say it wrong. NVENC encoder. That's the hardware-based ones, but that comes from your NVIDIA graphics card. I highly recommend using that because it will make a massive, very noticeable difference on your CPU loads and whatnot. So anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you want some assistance, like I say, I can try to help you out any way I can. Leave a comment, like it if you liked it, dislike it if you hated this video. And tell me what you want. So put in the comments, what you liked about, what you didn't like about, what you'd like me to do differently on the next videos, and we'll go from there. I listen to you guys' feedback. So if you want some more tutorials like this, I may do some on basic editing stuff. I can do some on pretty much anything. So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed it. Have a good one.